And we are live with DJ's game. Seen some familiar faces here at DJ's game on this Wednesday night at Poker House Fort Worth. Get everything all set up here as we are streaming the DJ's game, a 1-2-300 cap buy-in cash game. Get things all cut up here shortly. All right, we are good to go just in time to see Richard wake up with pocket aces. Miz is going to come along and call the $15 with 9-4 offsuit. A lot of catching up needed to do on this Jack 10 King flop. Richard's still going to be best. Checks to Miz, who's going to bluff at this. I love it. Good check there by Richard. It's kind of a dangerous board for pocket aces, but still going to come along and call Miz's bluff of 35 here. Let's see if some more scare cards can come out to where Miz can maybe take this one away. He does pick up a spade draw here on the turn, so his bluff should continue. Rich is going to check it to him, give him the option. Miz is going to check back, try to realize that club flush doesn't make it, but picks up a pair of nines on the river, bringing one to a straight on the board. So Richard here kind of slow playing the aces, but not really. But he's going to lead out here. If Miz finds it in him here to raise him, he'll get him to lay those aces down. But I think it's going to be just as scary for Miz, given any queen makes that straight. He's going to let that go. So Richard kind of getting lucky there. If Miz would have kept up that aggression, would have been pretty tough for the aces to continue there. We want to welcome everyone for tuning in to DJ's game. This is a $300 cap buy-in game. You can see there at the bottom of the screen. They've been playing a little bit before we were able to get live. They started a little bit early, waiting on the players there and to get everything all set up and go. So Richard, including that pot he just picked up, is plus 115. Daryl, the only one that has lost a little bit here, negative 137. But I know Daryl real well, gotten to know him over the last couple of weeks. He can definitely come back from that. Some of the faces here at the table, some of the old faces are back, some of the new faces are in. Miz going to limp in with a 7-5 offsuit. Richard looking at King Jack suitor, going to raise this up $10. Super Cat, who we saw last week, crossing our fingers for her to have a little bit better of a session than she has. She just didn't have many cards last week. It was tough for her to get much of anything going. See if her luck changes for this week's stream. Looking at an ace-4 board. No one has an ace in their hand. Everybody knows my kicker in the one seat. Gotten to know him pretty well, who had really good, really did really well in the 50K we had last weekend. We'll talk more about that 50K and kind of some other stuff that we have coming up. Bulldog calling the 15. The bet there from Miz, and Bulldog's going to be best here if he can call this down. Does he believe that Miz is full of it? And he does. What a call by Bulldog. New player here for this 1-2 game. Already a non-believer of Miz. So that's good to see that living up to the name that he chose for the stream, the Bulldog stays with this hand and takes down that pot from Miz. So again, we have Richard in the 8th seat. Don't believe I've commentated him before. Detroit, new to the stream, at least for me, but a regular here at Poker House Fort Worth. My kicker, the regular. Bulldog, also a new player to me here on stream. Of course, we have DJ, his game in the 5 seat. John in the 3 seat. Of course, Super Cat is back in the 9. Daryl, who has been a regular, and Miz a regular to round off the 9 players for this $1, $2 no limit hold'em. And we have some viewers in the chat. Tell us who you're watching, who you're rooting on tonight for DJ's game. Streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. Pull up that YouTube stream here and see if see how it's looking. Making sure that we're going on YouTube. Detroit limped in with the Ace King, seeing if he could get some 3-bet action. Didn't get it. Miz playing the 7-5 again, but this time actually strikes Jin, flopping trips. Unfortunately, not much going on for anybody else, so he's going to try to string the bait a little bit to see if there's any takers, but unfortunately, no one is going to be. Oh no, Bulldog, he's going to come along with his 8 deuce. He said my deuces may be good here sometimes for $6. And to a river and 8. That's going to be a Gin card for Miz, as Bulldog is going to make 8s and 7s. That's the best card he could see other than a deuce. And Bulldog's going to lead up for 20, and Miz is going to raise this up. So Bulldog called him down last time. Let's see if he does it again. It looks like he might have. And it looks like he did, yes. Okay, so Bulldog trying to call down, keep him honest twice. He was right the first time, but not this time. So Miz gets some of those chips back, flopping 3 7s. So Miz gets a little bit of those chips back that Bulldog called him down with in the last hand. And it says hand number 12. Like I said, they got started playing a little bit before the stream got started. But that's okay. We are here now. Jack, 9. everyone getting in on this pot for $2. So lots of cards out there in the field, but I don't see any jacks. Oh no, Miz has a jack. So flopping trips twice in a row. He checks for deception. A 6 on the turn gives Bulldog 2 pair. Miz finally makes his presence known with a $6 bet. See if anybody comes along. Oh, my kicker has a jack as well. So, oof, we got 2 players with trip jacks. Any card bigger than a 9 will give them a chop pot, and it does. So 2 players here, Jack 7 and Jack 8. Detroit hits a queen on the river to maybe feel like that could be good a portion of the time. Miz going to bet 20. Kicker just comes along, and Bulldog is just living up to the namesake. He does not let go for anything. He's going to call that 20. Detroit here with the queen, but it's hard to call down with just that queen with all that action in front of you. Kicker and Miz both going to show a jack and see the chopped pot, and they're going to take their money back. And I automatically love Bulldog. This guy is living up to the name. Gets in there and does not let go. So Kicker and Miz will split that pot up. It's, that's the danger of getting into hands multi ways with that many people in a limped pot. There's no telling what anybody has. And so, yeah, you may flop trips there with Jack 6 or Jack 8, but when no one raised it, anybody else can have anything else. So it makes it difficult to put anybody on a hand. And so, like in Bulldog's case and Detroit's case, you feel like that queen could have been good some of the time. But whenever the pot is not raised pre-flop, there's a lot of jack anythings out there because people will limp in for $2 with any 2 cards. Super Cat looking down at 6 deuce. Her run of bad cards continues into this week. Detroit waking up with the ace jack. See if he raises this up. Looks like it's 10 to play. DJ calls the 10 with ace 6 offsuit. Miz calls and with 6-4, and we are 3 ways to a flop. King 3-8. DJ is taking lead with middle pair here. Yep, DJ is going to bet that out, and everybody else is going to fold. So let's talk a little bit about this last weekend. We had the $50,000 guaranteed tournament. The $50,000 guaranteed tournament, that was only a $65 buy-in. And we had 1,261 entries for a $63,000 and change prize pool. It was a massive, massive success. I hope anyone listening got a chance to take part in that fantastic tournament. And we, like you said, we had a blast. They ended up chopping it, I believe, 7 ways, which I don't blame them because there was a lot of money up top, and the blinds were getting on up there. You can check out the results on the Facebook page of Poker House Fort Worth and Poker House Peaks. Like I said, it was a great weekend, and we have so much more in store coming up for you guys. This hand here, ace 7 suited, looks like we have a $5 straddle on. Daryl's going to come along, 10-9 for Richard. Super Cat going to look for a 3 with her pocket threes. Mike calls with Queen Jack off suit. John calls with Queen 10 suited. Detroit and DJ both come along, ace 6 suited. Everybody's got a hand here. And Miz is going to squeeze. Well done there by Miz. Going to raise up to 35 with his ace 6 of diamonds. The problem is there's a lot of good hands out there, so he's not going to get rid of too many people in this. He does get the seat 8 to fold. Oh, come on, Cat. Play a hand. Don't be scared. It's pocket threes. What if you hit a 3? All this action. She's sitting there thinking about the pocket threes. She's going to let it go. I want to see a Cat get in there and mix it up some. She's been quite timid here on stream. John, the queen 10 of diamonds, real pretty hand, probably going to come along with this as he's cutting out the chips. Detroit, ace 6 suited. He's cutting out the chips as well. And he does come along as well. And I think DJ would call. Yeah, DJ might have folded. I was going to say DJ would call with a napkin and an Applebee's card, but maybe he didn't. It's a lot of action headed up to him, so I don't hate it. Detroit flops the nut flush draw. John top pair or second pair with a 10 kicker. Oh no, I'm sorry, misread there. King 8 deuce. So the only real hand here is Detroit with the nut flush draw. Miz is going to continue the aggression he had pre-flop, betting 75. John misses everything, can't come along. So Detroit is going to call this $75 bet down with his nut flush draw. Now, Miz is pretty good about the aggression pre-flop and leading up to the flop here, but he does not slow down there. I was just about to say he's been slowing down the aggression, but he chooses not to this time. And a great bet here of 138 as the king pairs the board on the turn. Miz basically saying that I have a king and to get off of your flush draw. And Detroit here with a nut flush draw. Gonna have kind of a difficult time calling this down. The board did pair. It could take out some of his outs for the clubs. If Miz, say, has king 10 and a 10 of clubs peels off, would give Miz a boat, etc. So it's kind of hard to trust in a flush draw. Even though it's good more often than not, sometimes it's difficult to call off a lot of chips when the board does pair because it does take away some of your outs. He does show the ace 6 suited and lets it go. And Miz, showing the same hand, turns it face up to rub in the bluff there. So Miz wants to maintain his image here of being a little bit crazy, and could work into his benefit later if he wakes up with a monster and gets paid off. So good play there by Miz. Like I said, I was going to say that he had shown some pre-flop aggression with some flop aggression, and then kind of slowing down as the board develops, but he did not do it there and paid off and won the hand without the risk of another club coming out. So well played there by Miz. Here we have Miss Jenny stepping into the box. And I think they're just doing the bomb pots on the top of the hour, so we may not see a bomb pot here. Yeah, it's just going to be a normal hold'em hand. Yeah, you can barely hear the players. They're discussing, looking for the bomb pot. Daryl going to limp in with the king jack of clubs. Richard folding ace 5 suited. I think I might have seen the flop with that for $2. Supercat finally wakes up with an ace 8, wants to play for 2. DJ coming along with jack 10 offsuit, and Miz is going to check his option with king queen suited. So some pretty good hands here. Not much in the middle of the pot, but some good hands to the flop. 10-5 deuce. That's going to be flopped best there for DJ, who's going to lead out here for 11. And it's going to get called. Miz and Daryl both coming along with some overcards. A jack would be a disaster for Daryl. And we'll get these cards cleaned up here momentarily. DJ still leading out with top pair best. Daryl's still coming along with the overcards. 3 there on the river changes nothing. DJ going to fire one more time for 7. And just a call down there by Daryl. He just wants to see what DJ has. Paid a $7 fee for an education there. Yeah, everybody having a good laugh. Oh, Daryl's cards might have been misread here. No, it's not either. Not real sure what's going on here, but nah, I think he just paid. Yeah, I think he just paid for the education there. So a small picked up pot there for DJ. I think they confused Jenny there with that confidently turning over the king jack. Like, wait a minute, what am I looking at here? He says, "No, I have nothing. I'm just very confident in my nothing. I just want to see DJ's hand." Supercat under the gun, +1, calls 2 with queen 9, my kicker, John, Detroit, Miz, everybody coming along for 2. These guys are enjoying a cheap pre-flop, getting to some post-flop action. A 9-10 jack rainbow board. Top pair for Daryl. Supercat open-ended with bottom pair, calling $10. John folds his pair. Miz just can't help himself. He wants to play so bad he can't stand it, but he's already been caught bluffing and shown bluffing. He better slow it down a little bit. Deuce of diamonds changes nothing on the turn. Daryl still best with his top pair. Goes check, check to a river looking for a king, and there's the king. So that is going to give Supercat the straight. Daryl's going to check and sort of just check out there as Supercat was reaching for chips. Daryl knew Supercat didn't even have to turn over any cards, but she shows that she had the straight. And I believe that was the first pot there awarded to Supercat on stream. Like I said, she had a rough week last week. I don't know if it was the first pot, but good to see her picking up some cards finally and getting some chips pushed her way. Everybody at the table laughing at the fact that she was just reaching for chips, and Daryl immediately threw his cards away. But when you know you're beat, you know you're beat. Let's go to the next hand, he says. Don't even bother putting your chips out there, Cat. Miz on the button gonna. I can't tell if it was a $10 strat. I think it was a $10 straddle. I think it went 1, 2, 5, 10 here. Either way, players are putting $10 into the pot. Miz looking at 10-7 suited. Richard 8-5 suited. Supercat completes the under the gun straddle with King 3. Yeah, and my kicker check. So it was a $10 straddle hand. So pretty decent pot right off the bat. 4, 5, 6 on the flop. Miz open-ended kicker flopping middle pair. Supercat with the bottom end of the straight draw. Richard with a gut shot, larger straight and middle pair. Kicker's going to bet his middle pair out for 25. Miz is going to come along with his open-ended backdoor flush draw as well. Richard comes along as well, gut shot, middle pair. Supercat open-ended, but again, the bottom side of it difficult to come along. But she's definitely thinking about it. She just won those chips. She wants to put them back in play. And she does, Colin with the bottom. So she's looking for a deuce to complete her straight. Anything else would be tough with the 8 out in the field. And there it is. So now Kat does pick up the straight with her King 3. And she just rips it right in. Love it. Okay, so Supercat just says, "Here, everybody, look, I have a 3. Anyone want to chase along?" Miz is going to be the only one really here that can come along at all, having the top end of the straight open-ended, but also picked up a flush draw there. I don't see any cards in front of my kicker, so he might have already folded. Yeah, he did. And so it's going to be over to Miz as he's getting a count. Uh, like I said, with her betting 257 into a $140 pot, she's announcing she has the three, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that to try to take down the pot. But it's just going to be depend if Miz wants to gamble, knowing that his flush would be good, knowing that if he hits uh, one of the last remaining threes or an eight, he has the bigger straight. The camera's still here on kicker, unfortunately, as it has not registered that he has folded just yet. So we get to watch kicker watch Miz instead of watching Miz make the thoughts. Okay, so it's finally updated here. So, so Miz let it go. So, okay, so Cat's going to take this down. So the monster overbet puts everyone in the blender. She doesn't even have to show it. Oh, and they ran it, and it didn't matter. So Miz wanted to see a rabbit. He wanted to see if his larger straight or flush got there, and it did not. So good fold there by Miz. And Super Cat, that's going to take her to 2 pots in a row and a pretty significant pot, putting her as the current leader of the table at just under 400. DJ looking at 8-9, trying to mix it up here. He's been a little slow at the beginning of this stream, kind of getting the feel of the table here. I like the raise with the 9-8 suited. John going to come along with the King Queen offsuit, and Bulldog Bean Bulldog coming along with the 5-4. John going to flop best top pair here. DJ, he decides to continuation bet for the 30, and John's going to come along, and so DJ is going to know that he got outflopped here immediately, looking for running hearts or another 9 or an 8 to maybe take the lead back in this hand. The 10 does give him some straight options here, so he does go ahead and continue the aggression. But John not going to go anywhere now since he has the queen that DJ's hoping for and has the straight. So DJ in bad shape, looking for a queen and a queen only. The ace does get there, doesn't change anything, but that could help DJ from losing any more on a bluff here. But he's not going to get that option because John's going to go ahead and bet this one out, and DJ's immediately going to pitch in his card, disappointed at that run out. But he'll know that he was beat from the beginning there. But like I said, he had a plan. Pre-flop raise, keep up the aggression, getting some equity. But unfortunately, the run out helped John too much to ever shake him away. So the only people losing money right now is Bulldog, DJ, Detroit, and Daryl, and no one of any real significance yet. We haven't had any rebuys at the table. This is DJ's 1-2 $300 max buy-in max buy-in game, $300 max buy-in game here on Wednesday nights. And I don't think anyone has reached yet for their second bullet of 300. Detroit looking down at ace-jack of spades again, see if it works for him the second time. It did not about 30 minutes ago. DJ going to come along, $10 with the queen nine suited Miz, king queen suited of spades. 3-bets it to 30. So some good betting here pre-flop on this one here. My kicker and Bulldog both fold, get out of the way. John lets his king four go. Detroit comes along, and of course DJ probably will as well. So we're gonna. It says John called, but I don't know if John called. Looked like he pitched his cards in there. But either way, we have 3 good hands to the flop. 8, 3, 5. 2 spades on this flop. So Detroit and Miz both flopping some fantastic draws here. Of course, Detroit's is better with the nuts. And DJ going to call the 35 with maybe some running clubs. 6 on the turn does slightly improve DJ's hand, needing a 7 for a straight. But he's going to, yeah, this is a great bet. And going to be a tough bet for these players to call. So the 6 on the turn still helps no one, but DJ, who was came along with these other pre-flop aggressors here, knows that they could be on any spade or straight draws here, and just going to try to outprice them on this. But it's 200 into about a $200 pot, so this is going to be a tough one to get through. But Miz and Detroit laid his nut flush down before, so I don't know if he can do it again, especially since he doesn't quite have enough to match that bet. He only has 155 behind, and that might be the only hole in DJ's plans here, is that his opponent just may not have enough to get away from this draw. Yep, and that's going to be the problem. So great move there by DJ. Unfortunately, his opponent just didn't have quite enough chips to be able to fold, and has to make that call. So Detroit thinks he's behind, but he is actually ahead. He's only dodging any queens or nines. There's an ace on the river sealing it for Detroit in the first one, and a jack on the river still maintaining Detroit. So Detroit going to get a massive pot here. DJ does not show his cards, which I don't blame him. That's like I said, he was making a good play. It was just unfortunately slightly miscalculated in that Detroit didn't have quite enough chips there to be able to make the laydown. So that's 2 well-played hands, DJ, 2 well-played roadmaps on what you were trying to do in 2 different hands, but didn't quite go your way. But that's what you have to do in poker sometimes. Sometimes you have to play the game and not the cards, because the cards have not been too kind to him so far. So good betting, good representation. Just unfortunately, your opponent did not have enough chips left to be able to get away from that one.
You should, but you go for equals, really? No, they're not. Not even in the wheelhouse.
I think we've got $5 out there for everybody. So this is going to be the bomb pot. Bomb pots are always fun for those unaware. On dealer changes during the cash games, and in the case of the streams, we do it on the top of the hours. It is a 4-card, 2-board game. Omaha rules: you must play 2 cards in your hand. 2 cards in your hand, and using 3 cards from each board. It does not matter which one you use. So, for instance, my kicker, we're showing his cards here. He has a pair of 7s on the top board and open-ended straight on the bottom using the 8-7. So you must use 2 cards from your hand and then 3 cards from the board. It can be a different 2 cards for each different board. Doesn't matter the combination thereof. Kicker going to go ahead and ship it here as he has 7-8 in his hand for the nut straight on the bottom. And let's see who has anything competing here. Bulldog does have a set of queens on that same bottom board, and would be beating Kicker's sevens on the top if he isolates against Bulldog. We all know Bulldog does not like to fold. Daryl over in the 7 seat has the nut flush draw on the bottom. So we have 3 different players all vying for the same board here, which usually ends up being a tough scenario here. So we'll let the graphics catch up here. Dealer Jenny here stacking the chips, seeing how much Kicker has and Bulldog has, so she can pull in the smaller amounts. And Daryl going to get in the rest of his chips as well with the nut flush draw on the bottom side. So 3 players and everyone attacking the bottom board. Pocket queens are best at the top for Bulldog. So Bulldog in great shape here for a scoop. Unfortunately, ends up not getting the top, but he does maintain the bottom there. Kicker is the one that's going to get outdrawn on that bottom board. So the pocket queens are going to make a boat on the bottom for Bulldog, and Kicker's going to get the top half with the 7. So the only one left out in the cold is Daryl, who did make his heart draw, but it was a board pairing 9 on that bottom. So yeah, after the bomb pot there, they're always fun. This is what we were going to talk about, the $20,000 Point Series Free Roll Championship on October 12th. All this month, all these players for the month of July have been accruing chips during cash games, during tournaments. So our free rolls, come and play in the free rolls and you get some chips. Come play in the cash games and you get some chips. You're getting stacking chips to play in the August 3rd qualifier. So any chips that you build up for the month of July, everyone will bring those chips to the table on August 3rd, and the top 15% will move on to the Point Series Free Roll Championship on October 12th. So you have 3 opportunities to get into this tournament: August 3rd, September 7th, and October 5th. These are the 3 qualifying tournaments. Top 15% from each one of those 3 tournaments will move on to play for that $20,000 championship on October 12th. So build you up a big chip stack by coming and playing at Poker House Fort Worth. You can see there on the bottom left of the graphic, I'll read a little bit for those that just listening. For just being a member, you're going to get 5,000 chips. For every hour of cash game that you play, you're going to get 500 chips. We're going to do hourly high hands in the cash games to earn you some chips. And then the first 9 every day that come and play at Poker House Fort Worth get an automatic 500 in chips. Tournament players, you'll get chips for every add-on, for every tournament play, every add-on, every rebuy. You'll get some chips for placements, how well you do in the tournament. But the long story short is you are building a chip stack for the qualifier on August 3rd. All the chips that you're putting together for the month of July bring back on August 3rd. And so you want to have one of the bigger chip stacks starting that tournament. All you have to do is come play here at Poker House Fort Worth. Give yourself an advantage to get into that top 15% to move on to that $20,000 free roll championship in October. You only have 3 opportunities to get into that tournament. And the first one coming up at the end of this month and will be at the end of the next 2 months after that. You spend the month building a chip stack, bring it to the qualifier. Top 15% in the qualifiers move on to the championship. So lots of excitement about that one. A lot of you played in the Road to Vegas series that we had over a few months where you were building points that was building your chip stack for the road to Vegas. This is very similar, except it's going to reset every month. And the top 15% from the monthly qualifier get into the tournament. So again, all you have to do is come play. Any tournament, any of the cash games, you're building chips to play in the qualifier. And in that qualifier, you're vying for that top 15% slot. Once it hits 15%, the tournament's over. Does not matter your chip stack in that tournament. You're building chips to be in the qualifier to get in the top 15%, and those players will move forward. Playing catch up to this hand here, Super Cat in the lead with top pair Queen 10. Detroit does have the King High Diamond draw. He's going to match her bets along the way, trying to hit a diamond on this river, looking for a diamond, any diamond, or a king. And it is a diamond, so Super Cat going to get outdrawn here on this river. Detroit not going to mask his hand, though. He's not going to check it to her. He's going to lead out here, and it's not for much. Cat, unfortunately, may have to make a crying call here for 25. Not that much in the pot, though. She could get away from it. Yep, she looks at her cards like she is going to be able to fold it. Detroit does not look like a guy that's going to bluff this for this amount. So think about it, Cat. Yep, she's going to show the 10 and lay it down. Good lay down there. Again, Detroit. Detroit's never bluffing there. He either has a 5 or he has the diamonds. Unfortunately, Cat gets rivered on that one, and a good hand for Detroit, sticking into it with a good price to chase down that diamonds, and finally got one, by the way. He's had about 2 different flush draws that he was unable to go for and or missed, so it's got to feel good to finally pick up that flush draw. And that pot does extend Detroit's lead here to $534. Daryl, the only one that has not had a great night. Looks like he did add on there for 300, or brought his stack back up to 300, but he's looking to get some of those chips back right here, waking up with ace king of spades, raising it up to 15. Richard coming along, not getting much cards to play, so looks at the 5-4 of diamonds and decides that that's good enough. I don't hate it. I like that hand. Raise it up to 15. Super Cat with the pocket threes. Test again. She laid down the threes last time. It's only 15. Super Cat. Oh, gosh. Just one time. Get in there. Raise it up. Bulldog folds. Kicker folds. John waking up with the same ace king on the offsuit variety for 15. Detroit looking at a queen 10 offsuit. Goes ahead and makes the call. Putting DJ in there with pocket sevens. Oh, this is a squeeze spot. Get ready for the fireworks on this one here. He's sitting there grinning like a Cheshire cat. There it is. Yep, I knew that was coming immediately. 15, call. Rip it all in. I saw that one coming a mile away. And looks like it's going to be just shy of 300, as DJ might have reloaded a little bit there. It might have been where he was at, but either way, 300 for Daryl to call. And he does have the ace king of spades, and so, yeah, he does make the call. DJ loves the gamble. Richard probably won't be able to come along with the 5-4 of diamonds. John's going to have a hard time calling with ace king offsuit, even though it is ace king, when you've got a rip and a call right behind him, especially when that call is coming from Daryl. The ace king could be up against kings or aces. That's what he's thinking right now. He likes the ace king, but does he want to go 3 ways against probable pocket pairs? Yeah, good fold there by John. Daryl could have aces or kings there all day long. He was the initial pre-flop raiser. 15 is a lot from Daryl. Daryl's pretty stoic poker player. And obviously Detroit's not going to come along here with the queen 10. So flipping for $600 is what we're doing here at Poker House Fort Worth in DJ's game, the 1-2 no limit game. I don't know how many times they're going to run it here. Oh, they are running one-time max pain here, so it's in the hands of Jenny. And an immediate king 5 king. So Daryl is going to take this one down, showing the ace king. So I love the play at a DJ. It was the correct move. And reaching for reloaded chips. So Daryl's ace king flops 3 kings. DJ reaching for some more chips here to continue on the battle. Again, a great play, the only play. A $15 raise and then 4 flat collars behind that, and you wake up at pocket sevens. Absolutely squeeze that thing. Got it in best, but Daryl, much needed chips, pulls him out of the basement up to the penthouse, by the way. He was at the bottom of the chip count board and now is at the top. Much needed hand for Daryl. Well done, sir. Patience paid off.
The only 2 cards in the deck that he could hit.
And now let's see if the pace of play goes back to normal. Sometimes after a couple big hands, the momentum continues with some raises and whatnot. But whenever you have a giant bomb like that, sometimes people back off and return to normal poker for a little while. And that's exactly what does happen here. Is we have 5 players limping in for 2. An ace 3-7 rainbow board. Miz flopping the second pair. DJ has the ace and going to lead it out here with $6. Miz coming along with that mentioned second pair. And it looks like everyone else is going to fold and get out of the way. So DJ and Miz going heads up to a turn. Miz looking for a 9 or another 7 to catch up here. Does not do it on the turn. DJ still in lead, but with the deuce kicker, decides to slow down and check it for pot control. The queen on the river changes nothing, and it's going to go check, check, and DJ going to pick up a small pot there to feel a little bit better after losing that race. The V-pips on the screen. Miz is still leading the way, followed real closely to Detroit. Again, V-pip, voluntarily put money in pot. This is how active the player is. And that's what we like to see here in streams is the action. And those names that were at the top of that board are never wanting for action. Those guys usually keep the pace up and going. Daryl with Jack 9 of spades, real pretty hand in the gun, going to limp in at 4-2. Richard with better spades, ace deuce calls as well. My kicker calling 2 with Jack 10 offsuit. Detroit going to play his button, king 5 suited. DJ completing the small, and Miz wakes up with pocket kings on the button. Now these are the hands that Miz waits for. He's known to be an aggressive bluffer so far in this game here, so this $25 is not going to be as scary as if another player bet that. So he's going to get a few callers here. And that's because of his tendency to bluff and the action that he does give. So kings are well disguised here. Even though it is $25, he got 3 other callers, including DJ. 6-7-6 on this. I'm sorry, 7-6-7 on this flop here. Safe for the pocket kings, he's gonna continue the aggression here. Looks like he's betting 50, and he's not going to get any takers here. Daryl and Richard both holding spades, not connecting as well. So a quick $75 pickup there for Miz. Again, Miz's tendency to bluff gets him paid whenever he wakes up with the action and actually wakes up with the cards. Richard limps in here with pocket queens. Miz going to raise up with ace king, so Richard's hand is definitely disguised. See if he goes for the limp raise here, and he does. 3 bets to 45. DJ can't handle not being involved, comes along with queen 8, and Miz calls with his ace king. So interesting dynamic here pre-flop. Miz raised it up just a little after it limped around, and then the limp 3-bet there from Richard on a 7-9-7 board does not really connect with anyone here. I'd love to see Richard check it here. Absolutely love it. I know it's a dangerous check, but you want to talk about getting paid. Oh, he's going to go ahead. Yeah, so his hand is now face up and going to take down this pot. So he got a little bit more money than he would have if he would have come out of the gate raising. So the limp raise there working out in Richard's favor. But boy, that would have really put everyone in the blender. And it could have beat him too. An ace or king could have come out. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with betting and taking down the pot when you can. If you're dragging the chips, you did nothing wrong. That's what I always say. Quite a few people in the stream on Facebook and on YouTube. Who's rooting on who? Feel free to chat. Tell me. Type in there. Say, hey, I'm rooting for DJ. Hey, I want DJ to lose all of his money. Whatever it is, you are tuned in and join. Please let us know so we can continue making these streams and improving on everything. We've got lots of stuff coming on these streams. I'm pretty excited about seeing where we can take the stream to. Supercat here going to raise up to 7 with pocket queens. Bulldog 3-bets to 15 with ace 7 offsuit. So 2 unusual things going on in this hand. A pre-flop raise from Cat and a 3-bet from Bulldog should send most of the table scrambling for cover. DJ comes along with a 15 because the man just can't stand not being involved, and I love that. And Richard going to look for a 3 to complete his set. So 4 ways to a flop, $15 pre-flop. Supercat still in the lead with queens, looking to dodge a 3 or an ace. Does not get by the ace as Bulldog takes the top pair spot and the lead in the hand. Richard not picking a 3 on the flop. Supercat going to check it over with this scary ace out on that board. Bulldog not going to waste any time here. Going to go ahead and make a bet of 30. DJ, I was just about to say, you could see him come along and just sneakily spike a king and just ruin the party for everyone. We'll see what happens here on the turn as he does come along. And there it is. I literally called it. Oh, poor Bulldog. DJ has the most disguised straight ever and does the dance by checking it. Woof. Unfortunately for DJ, Bulldog doesn't have just the most fantastic hand in the world, but he's going to make an extra $55 or more there from DJ, or from Bulldog, $80, yeah. And DJ immediately calls. Couldn't make any more money on that river because it did bring the backdoor heart draw, but just in case, I had a funny feeling that was going to happen. I literally almost said it out loud before he called and then spiked it immediately. So good on DJ there. A tough beat for Bulldog. And what a hand. Sometimes it all works out. And DJ spiking the gut shot Broadway there. And we're off to hand number 27. Let's see if that affects Bulldog's play here. He doesn't look like a man that's affected by something like that, a $30 called gut shot. But we will soon find out. My kicker under the gun with a real pretty ace 10 does come along there. Let the graphics play catch up here. DJ raised it up to 11 with 9, 10 suited. Daryl come along with ace jack. Super Cat decides to play a hand. 9, 8 offsuit for 11. And my kicker did the limp 3-bet this time to 55. DJ with a monster killing hand at 9, 10 suited does come along. Daryl ace jack offsuit, just good enough for him as he's cutting out some, looks like some call-in chips here. That's what he does. Tough for Richard to come along with his ace jack after seeing all the action in front of him, and Super Cat not going to come along with her 9-8 unless for some reason this is just her favorite hand. Nope, she lets it go as well. So Daryl comes along, and as well as DJ, as my kicker has three bet his ace 10 of spades. And Jenny will take us to a flop of queen 7-4 2 clubs. I mean, DJ just flops an almost world here. It's going to check through on the flop. The jack of clubs does bring home the flush for DJ along with the redraw to the straight flush, and he's going to check it. And Daryl turning the top pair. Yeah, okay, this is going a little too quickly here. So Daryl turns a jack, bets it out, and my kicker comes along, floating the ace 10, and DJ check rips his flush with a redraw to take down the extra $100 that he would not have had he not checked that turn card. So well played there. And Jenny's counting out the chips here. So is the graphics catch up here? I feel like I saw Daryl fold. Is my kicker plausibly? No, I don't see anybody that has cards. I don't know. Yeah, no, there's nothing going on there. So might have just been doing a account for the graphics there. But well played there by DJ, picking a versatile hand pre-flop to come along with, flopping the world with the straight and flush draws, making the straight with the redraw to the straight flush, checking it and getting your opponents to lead out and come along, making an extra 100 on that hand. Sometimes the action just goes boom, 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 and I can't quite keep up. Even as fast as I talk, sometimes I lag behind. John, who hadn't had a hand in a while, has been able to play. Had the ace king earlier, but had to lay it down with all the pre-flop action in front of him. Picks up ace 9 suited, calling the 5. Detroit coming along at 4-5 was 6-5. DJ takes a breather out of all the action he has been up to, getting himself back up to probably close to even after his rebuy. Close to it. Richard calling 5, and my kicker coming along as well. So we're going to have 6 ways to a flop, I believe. Queen 6 deuce on the board. I know I saw a kicker have, yep, his kicker takes the lead with top pair with the queen. Don't see much else. Detroit has second pair, and as well does Richard. And Richard's going to be the one to bet this out. See where he stands in the hand, betting out in his middle pair of sixes there. Kicker comes along, obviously, with his top pair. Poor kicker, and so we're going to go heads up to a turn. Richard needing an 8 or another 6 to make up lost ground. Ace on the turn goes check from kicker. Now, Richard's bet here, even though that ace came out on the turn, he was betting on that flop. So that ace may not be as much as a scare card as one would think out of my kicker. If it would have checked through, that would have been differently. But would have been different. But let's see if Richard has another bullet here on this blank river. My kicker can be a pretty sticky opponent, so I don't know if Richard knows that or not. But Richard is going to fire a pretty decent bullet and did it with good tempo. But kicker is a kicker, and it makes the immediate call there and is going to be good enough. So Richard had the right idea. Bet at it. Shot that third bullet over towards kicker, but kicker doesn't like to fold very often. So good play against the wrong opponent there by Richard, but I do like the play, sir. I even liked the pace of that bet. I know that sounds funny, but when you watch poker, when you watch a lot of poker, you definitely pick up on things of how quickly people bet or fold, how long they think. And I think that he paused just enough to where he was really looked like a pretty strong $50 bet, but Again, kicker having the queen on that flop and Richard having that ace didn't quite make much sense since he bet out on that flop, but still a valiant effort on that hand. Detroit coming along with the ace-7 offsuit. DJ with the 7 deuce. Raises it up. Now, I don't know if they have the 7 deuce game on. Some streams, sometimes, even in DJ streams, they'll have the 7 deuce. If you win with 7 deuce, everyone has to give you $5. So I don't know if that game is on because DJ is the type of guy to raise it up with 7 deuce, whether that game is on or not. So, and there you go. So just right in the window, and he doesn't play it slow. He doesn't play it slow. 2-2-5 on this flop. Just a gin for DJ. And DJ using his image, bets it out. And the perfect turn card for max value for DJ. Daryl fires out 20 as he makes top pair of jacks on this turn. DJ snap all in.
7 deuce, everybody give me 5.
Don't. And so they are playing the 7 deuce game, and everyone's throwing DJ the $5 on top of that money. So I think he could have got some more value out of Daryl on that hand, but I think he was happy enough to pick up the $5 from everyone and just end the hand there. So that goes to show for DJ that just because he's playing 7 deuce doesn't mean the 7 deuce game is on, but it looked like it was on as every player did pitch him $5 for winning that hand, flopping trips. And luckily for Daryl, did not slow play those trips. That was the gin card for DJ to make some additional money on that hand, but he went ahead and sent the signal to Daryl to lay it down. Paul getting back in the box here for Poker House Fort Worth. Your Wednesday night DJ's game. DJ waking up with pocket jacks. The man is just in full throttle mode, raising it up to 12, but this time has the goods. Called by Richard with the ace-9 offsuit. See if anyone else wakes up with anything else. Kicker wants to play king-5 suited, calling the 12, as does Bulldog calling with the ace-6 offsuit. So DJ with the real hand here, looking to dodge kings and aces in the field. Queen 10-7 on this flop. Does not hit anyone here. DJ still best with his pocket jacks. See how heavily he can. No, he's going to disguise his hand. Checks it here. Another 10 on the turn. So DJ giving a little bit of rope to see if anybody has anything by checking that flop. Very wet, dangerous flop for jacks, but went ahead to see where he was standing. Puts in a c-bet on that paired board 10 on the turn, but still no one had anything. So we're going to pick up that pot, and he shows the pocket jacks. V-pips are still up on the screen. You've got several players who have been putting in the action. Chip stacks now. DJ 725 in front of him, picks himself up out of the hole. Daryl's still ahead of the game, I believe. I think he was the only other person to add chips on. Richard here waking up with pocket queens, going to raise it up to 12. Not much else in the field, but we do have one caller in Bulldog. Daryl comes along with king 9, so Richard's at pocket queens ahead. Luckily, two kings already in the field, so only having to dodge a couple kings. 8, 10, 4 flop. Pretty safe flop for pocket queens here. Uh, Not really much for anybody, so we may see a bet here from Richard unless he wants to slow play it, and he does. Well played by Richard. That's almost too safe of a flop. Unfortunately, the ace comes on the turn, which may scare him. Little does he know, no one does have the ace, but he's got to bet to see where he's at, so he does bet the 15 and not going to get any takers here. But again, you're dragging a pot, can't complain too much. Better than someone having the ace as he was trying to slow play those queens on that flop, which I did not mind. But one of the worst cards you want to see comes out on the turn. But luckily for him, no one had an ace.
And cheers. Oh yeah, I hit the start definitely. And that's all I'm gonna have to do. I picked up voluntary overtime. Because I mean, it's already. Well, the thing is, it's at that point I'm working time and a half plus time and a half for
See Bulldog here, raised it up pre-flop. Haven't seen much out of him being the initial raiser tonight. DJ waking up with 7 deuce again. We know that 7 deuce game is on. Asking him Bulldog how much he has behind him. All of these signs of him having a good hand. 9, 5, queen. Only Bulldog here catching at bottom pair. DJ going to try to find a place to steal this hand and win the 7 deuce game again. Turn cards into the 5, so there goes the 7 deuce game out of the window. Bulldog, if that 5 is accurate on his card reader, is never going to be able to bet enough to get Bulldog off the hand. So DJ here is not going to be able to win the 7 deuce game on this one.
Of course you did.
Oh, no, he did. So the card reader was incorrect, and DJ wins the 7 deuce game. So he did find a spot. Yeah, I was just confused by the card reader. Rake in that extra 5. That's an extra $40 of equity there on the 7 deuce game. I love it.
Hey, no, I already paid you mine. I was like, I already paid mine.
So well done, DJ, for being 2 for 2 on his 7 deuce game. I'm not going to count the first one, though, buddy. When you flop 3 deuces, that's not fair. It's only when you get to take it away with a steal does that matter. So, but the official record is 2 for 2 on the 7 deuce game for DJ. Daryl under the gun going to limp in here with Jack 10 off suit. Richard liking his King 10 off suit limps in as well. Super Cat having pocket ducks calls the 2. Kicker King 8. Bulldog pocket 3s good enough to raise up, get all these limpers out of there. I like it. Detroit, if the card reader is correct, has the same hand. So pocket 3s are drawing real thin. Miz, the squeeze play, the waking up in the big blind with pocket queens, and decides we're not going to play around here. So after it limps around to Bulldog, raise it to 20, and one call there by Detroit. Miz says that $40 is good enough for me with these pocket queens because Bulldog and Detroit both let it go. Miz, you gotta. Yep, he shows it. Yep, I was gonna say, man, if you're gonna keep bluffing, you better hide it. But he says, I'm gonna show it this time. So he may be switching gears to serious mode, showing the pocket queens, and takes down that $40 and change pre-flop. So if you missed it earlier, we talked a little bit about the $20,000 free roll. A $20,000 free roll. That's going to be in October. The way to get into that free roll is to get in the top 15% of one of our qualifiers. We're going to have qualifiers at the end of every single month. The first one's coming up in August 3rd at the end of the July month when you're accruing the chips. Again, we discussed on how to get chips to be in that qualifier. All you have to do is play. You have to come play in the cash games, come play in our tournaments. There's various ways to earn chips into that qualifier. You'll stack up those chips, play in the qualifier, and if you get in the top 15% of the qualifier, you make your way into the $20,000 free roll in October. There's only 3 chances, so get your way to Poker House Fort Worth, play in our cash games, play in the tournaments, earn your chips, and get in the top 15% in one of the 3 qualifiers. Again, it'll be they're at the beginning of every month, but they count for the month prior. So July's qualifier will be August 3rd. And you're stacking as many chips as you can in the month of July to have a good chip stack to compete on August 3rd to get in the top 15% to qualify for that $20,000 free roll. It's going to be an exciting, exciting tournament. We got lots of people to a flop here of a Jack Jack King. My kicker having best here with the only king in the field. DJ open ended here. Bulldog is the one going to be betting out $10 with his 9-6 suited. Alfie, I don't think that's his name, but if that gentleman wants me to call him Bulldog in the room, I'll call him Bulldog. He looks like a guy that I'm not going to say no to. So 7 on the turn does give Detroit the nut club draw, which does get there. It does get there. Unfortunately, the only person that has much of anything is kicker with a pair of kings and jacks with not much of a kicker. Detroit going to bet out 25. Kicker may make a crying call here, and he does. Detroit's going to get to show his nut flush and be good here to take down a decent-sized pot. Detroit's been a man of flush draws tonight. He's had a couple get there and a few of them not, just like the rest of us, but he has definitely been having more flush draws than most tonight, which can be good or bad. As we all know in poker, they can definitely cost you money, but they can win you some money. I call flush draws in poker the whenever you in blackjack when you get 11, you got to win your double downs in blackjack. I feel like flush draws are the same for me in poker. You get flush draws. You hit your flush draws, and you're gonna have a good night of poker. But it can also break you faster than anything else because you just have to come along to try to hit that flush. Supercat going to be the first with ace-6 offsuit. Lets it go. My kicker coming along for $2 with king-8. Bulldog letting the 9-8 go. John has just had a dry run of cards for this live stream. Not much action out of him tonight. Daryl waking up with the only decent hand. Going to call 2 with king-queen. He might have raised it up here. Let the graphics catch up and see. So either way, we're going to see an ace, 5, 6, 2 diamonds flop. Richard with bottom pair, and that is it as all 3 players check around to a 7 on the turn. That's going to give kicker an open-ended straight draw. See if he decides to bet it out here, which he's reaching for chips. Looks like he is. Going to make a pretty sizable bet there. And it's going to work. So kicker picks up a small pot there. Dealer Paul in the box here at Poker House Fort Worth for the Wednesday night DJ's game. You're watching a 1-2 no limit hold'em game with a $300 max buy-in. Again, one of my favorite games on any of our streams, on any of our platforms. It's just one of those games that anyone can play in. It's only a $300 buy-in with a $300 cap. Very affordable game, plenty of action. A nice, fun game. You can get in on this live stream. All you have to do is go up to Poker House Fort Worth and get on the list. Detroit raising it up with ace deuce offsuit to 10. DJ stepping away from the table for a moment and had a 3 deuce suited. We can almost guarantee he would be coming along with that in this hand. Several players calling 10 out in the field. Queen 4, King deuce, 6-4, Jack 9, and Bulldog here going to close the action with ace 10 offsuit with the 10. Oh no, he raised it up. Great move by Bulldog there with all these $10 out there looking nice and abandoned by all of these flat callers. Makes the squeeze with ace 10 offsuit, and it's going to work here. My kicker, the only one that could come along, but it's a very, very sizable squeeze there out of Bulldog. Well played, sir. Fold there from Miz and Daryl. Supercat never calling with the 6-4. My kicker, who does have a monster killer hand of Jack 9 suited, could be and he is going to come along. So I thought he might be the only one that could, and he does. He's going to be out of position here in this hand, but we automatically see a Jack and a 9 on this flop. So Bulldog's plan is going to backfire here as he goes all in, and kicker snap calls. Again, well played by Bulldog. A great squeeze pre-flop, and then the C bet on that flop to try to give himself one more chance to win that hand. But unfortunately for him, my kicker binks the 2 pair on that flop and is going to take this one down. So well done by my kicker. Coming along with the Jack 9 suited. And Bulldog is going to reach for the chips waiting in the wings as he comes back to the game. I liked the play there out of Bulldog, just didn't work out this time. So it was a great squeeze, a good sizing. Left himself just enough behind. But kicker flopped best. Never going to get away from the 2 pair there.
That's why I asked how much he had behind. I figured one of y'all was gonna call too.
Yeah, but if I did, I'm gonna call.
John, who's been card dead all night long, wakes up with ace king, finally decides to limp in to see what develops. Detroit has Jack 9 of spades, comes along. DJ, king queen off suit, reaching for raising chips. Not much, just made it 10 to play. Entices Miz with the 10-7 offsuit to come along here. Now let's see if John does the limp raise strategy that we've seen done by the other players. No, he just chooses to call the 10. So it closes the action, and we're going to go 6 ways to a flop. Jack 10-5 hitting the board. So Detroit and Bulldog both flopping at top pair. Open-ended for DJ. Kicker checks it to Bulldog here, who does have the top pair. It has the deuce kicker, but he is going to go ahead and focus on that top pair, betting 35. John here sort of handcuffed with that ace king. Doesn't know if he has the DJ luck behind him to bink the gutter. Chooses to fold. Detroit, who has the Jack 9, does make the call with his top pair. DJ's never folding here, and we could see a raise. But no, he's going to play the conservative route and just come along. Miz flopping middle pair, lets it go. And my kicker letting it go as well. So we're going to be reduced down to 3 players. DJ looking for a 9 or an ace to take the lead on this flop here. Deuce of hearts doesn't help anyone on the turn. No, I'm sorry. It takes Bulldog all the way to the top with his 2 pair. So a gin card for Bulldog. And I like the bet sizing here. He doesn't really blow it up too much, betting 55. So taking the line of aggression still that he had on the flop, but not enough to get everyone to go away just yet. And it might even bring both players with it, and it does, as Detroit still has top pair and DJ still open-ended. So looking to a 5 on the river 2 pair, counterfeits Bulldog's 2 pair but it's still going to play the 10 on the board. So Detroit and Bulldog both have the same hand here, and they're going to chop this pot unless they can get anyone to fold, which just to go ahead and check through DJ not taking a stab on the river there. And they're going to play Jackson fives with a 10 kicker. And so Bulldog getting a little unlucky there, turned the luck card on the turn, but board pairing river. So Detroit and Bulldog chopping up DJ's money. The sizable pot, too. They're still going to win about $70 a piece. Dealer Paul in the box for Poker House Fort Worth. You know, we'll say not only are you building chip stacks for the qualifier while you're here, we have the Fortune Jackpot still active for the month of July. Handed out lots of money with that promotion. You have 4-hour block windows to make 4 hands, hence the Fortune play on words there. You're looking to get a straight, ace high flush, a full house, and a flopped set. If you can make those 4 hands happen in those 4-hour windows, you win the progressive jackpot. And we've awarded quite a bit of money last month on that. As Paul there resets this hand. DJ, Bulldog, Ms., Richard, all seeing some pre-flop raises into the last hour and a half here of this poker game. Speaking of pre-flop raising, Detroit going to call 2 with the ace-7, but Ms. wakes up at pocket 10s, making it 20 to come along. Unfortunately for him, Richard waking up with pocket kings. And Richard just flats here. I like it. And when you have a player like Ms. who likes to bet leading out, no reason to shake the rope too hard. And it's also going to bring along Daryl and Bulldog with ace-4 and jack-7 suited. Pocket kings and pocket 10s. And a flopped top set for Ms. 5, 6, 10, but there are 3 hearts on this board. So a good and bad flop for Ms. Richard here does have the king of hearts, so he's not going to fold to a $25 bet here by Ms. Another heart gives him the second nuts. Bulldog getting out of the way as well, so we are heads up. Board pairing 5 on the turn will end any fears for Ms. as he immediately bets out 75. Richard here, head in his hand, thinking about this one here. He's got pocket kings. Overpair to the board. One more heart does give him the second nut flush. But the problem is Ms. is already filled up on the turn here. So Richard drawn to a king and only a king, but does not know that. But it is Ms. who is prone to firing multiple bluffs. And he does make the call, and Ms. immediately makes a bet before the river even comes out there of all in, and Richard sees the 4th heart come out on the river. So this is going to be a difficult laydown here for Richard. Difficult laydown here because Ms. put that bet in dark. And I think he made the call. Yeah, he did make the call, and I don't blame him. Boy, that would be a hard laydown. Ms. made that all-in bet before the heart hit the river, so you can't put him on the ace-high heart draw. Tough hand there for Richard. Ms. flopping the top set, making the boat on the turn, making no fear of the hearts for him, and plays it in such a manner that puts Richard in the blender, and it gets, unfortunately, max value from his stack. And Ms., who came out of the gate pretty aggressive, slowed down at mid-game, played more patiently, and patience is rewarded. Flopping that top set, turning the boat down, all smiles once again here at this table. So that's the definition of a cooler. Definition of a cooler, to where you are just put into a spot where you are going to lose the chips there pretty much every time against a player that you feel like it's going to be good against. And unfortunately, having second best. So Miz, huge double up for him. But Richard still has some chips behind. It looks like he might have reloaded for the 300 and has shown some great play tonight. So he definitely has the ability to get that back. Detroit calling it two with the ace five suited, folding on around the table. Richard wakes up with the seven deuce while the seven deuce game is on, so he's going to call the $2 to see if he can get lucky and get some extra equity for winning with seven deuce. Kicker on the button, calling with king five, bulldog. Bulldog's going to raise us up to 16 with queen 10 suited. John waking up with a hand. It's tough to play. Ace 10 offsuit, lets it go. Smart play. Hard to play ace 10 out of position. Detroit coming along with his ace 5 suited. Richard's going to take the 7 deuce game all the way home, calling the 16. And Richard, kicker goes ahead and folds the king 5. So we're going to go three ways to a flop. Richard looking for an opportunity to steal this pot away to take the 7 deuce game home. 3 king jack on this flop, open-ended for Bulldog. Nothing much for Detroit or Richard. Bulldog's going to continue the pre-flop aggression, betting 25, and is probably going to be good enough to take this down unless Richard wants to play the 7 deuce game all the way to the hilt and raise pretty significantly here. Does he want the fame of winning a 7 deuce game? No, he decides against it. So it's tough to get Bulldog to fold. So I don't blame him for not pulling the trigger there, trying to make a bluff.
You want to skydive without a parachute? Guess what? You can do it, but probably only once. You can do anything you want in this life.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Skydive without a parachute, you can live out of that.
You see, that's what I'm saying. That more than likely.
I knew someone right now was like this
We are on hand number 40. This is DJ's game. Wednesday night here at Poker House Fort Worth. Just a 1-2 game, $300 max buy-in.
The best though, if you've done it like my third jump, I did out of the helicopter, which was amazing. Oh, I am too. That's my biggest fear.
You can sign up for this game anytime during the week at Poker House Fort Worth. John finally getting another decent hand. Pocket Kings raising it up to 18, but unfortunately just not much in the field. He is going to get a call at a Daryl, though, with 10-8 of diamonds. A 10 in the window, but an ace on the board here could slow the action. See if John keeps up the aggression here with the Pocket Kings. Has to make some sort of a bet to see where he's at. Firing it out. Looks like $30. Betting 30. Daryl did pick up second pair, so he may come along here, and he does. That's going to put a red flag in front of John with the ace on the board holding Pocket Kings. Another diamond that does put a flush draw out there for Daryl, so that's going to be even harder to get him to fold now. John going to slow down with the ace out there. Daryl going to check as well. Going to play some pot control to a river. King on the river. Perfect for John. Now he can retake the aggression on this hand. But can't bet too much because Daryl's not going to be able to call much at all. Looks like he bet 50, and John does have to let that one go. So, I'm sorry, Daryl has to let that one go. So, John finally stacking some chips. It's about time, buddy. Good job. John's had a rough go of it here tonight on the live stream table. Gotten some decent hands here and there, but just put in some really bad positions and not really waking up with the best of it when he needed it. but Pocket Kings it does pay off and gets him a decent pot there. And that has to feel good to drag in some chips and stack them up and get the mind back right whenever the game has been a little unfair to you for the last hour or so.
That's what I'm saying. It's like it's literally the hand. Oh,
Now do everything, Cole. Volunteer, I
So we have a $5 straddle still on.
let's go.
ah, fucking.
Super Cat looking down at 8-7 offsuit. Hasn't had much in the last little bit. Lets that one go. Kicker lets it go as well. Bulldog not having anything to wake up to. John on the button. Decides not to play a Jack 4 offsuit. So the blinds and the straddles. Detroit's going to come along to the straddle for a 5 with Ace Queen offsuit. DJ going to call anything.
I know you're checking now.
10 deuce in the small blind. Miz checks his option with 10-9 offsuit. Queen 6-4. Top pair, top kicker for Detroit. And he's going to have Miz betting into him here. So Miz is going to take the lead and is immediately raised by Detroit. And that's going to get DJ out of the way. And Miz is going to sit here and ho and hum and fold. So Detroit showing his hand there, top. Picks up the extra little bit there from the straddle.
They still kiss me out. They're 40 something. 50 something. I'm sorry.
So it looks like Miz, Detroit, my kicker are still the biggest benefactors of tonight's 1-2 game. Small profit from John and Super Cat. Showing DJ in the hole, but I'm not sure. He might have bought in 3 times. He likes to add on before he gets completely felted. So it's plausible he might be in for a little more than I thought, but either way, it's been quite the roller coaster for him. Went on a heater there for a while and then had a couple big draws missed to give a little bit of that back. And we're going to play a bomb pot here. Every player 4 cards. Omaha rules 2 boards. Half of the pot to the top board, half of the pot to the bottom board. Must play 2 in your hand and 3 on the board. Does not need to be the same 2 cards. You can play 2 cards for the top, 2 cards for the bottom. Just a once an hour game here on the live stream. Usually lots of action, lots of draws, lots of things able to get there. And a lot of red out on these 2 boards. So any player with a couple diamonds in their hand, see if it gets announced quickly. It takes the graphics a while for these bomb pots with every player having 4 cards. They are now popping up here. Let's see if anybody has 2 diamonds. I don't see anybody with 2 diamonds initially, so this may play a little slower than it could otherwise. But Jack, Queen, King on the top, I believe. Yeah, DJ does have Ace 10, so he's going to have the nuts on the top board. And decent holding on the bottom. But it is going to check around. No one is super strong enough to take any action on these boards yet. And it's going to be kind of a slow pot here. Super Cat going to bet this river, betting 35, which is the pot showing Broadway on the top and nothing on the bottom here. Let's see if anybody has anything to call with here on the bottom. This made DJ does come along. Unfortunately, has the same straight on the top and going to be best on the bottom with the pair of aces. So Miz actually has the best of it here, and he does make the call. He has 3 sevens in his hand, playing 2 of them for a set on the bottom. A big call there by Miz to get half the pot, while DJ and Super Cat are going to quarter the top. I mean, that's a big call there by Miz. I think he just wanted to show that he won with trips in his hand, only being able to play 2 of those sevens. Too funny there, and actually becomes the benefactor of the hand as Super Cat and DJ are going to each take half of that top board. He's going to win the bottom all alone. So fun bomb pouts as usual. And here it is again to the graphic for the $20,000 championship free roll. That's right, a $20,000 free roll in October. There's only three chances for you to get into this tournament. One coming up on August 3rd. For the month of July, you are stacking your chips. You are making your own chip stack just by playing at Poker House Fort Worth. You're going to get chips for playing in the cash games. You're going to get chips for playing in the tournaments. Check out our social medias to see the amounts. But if you're a member at all of Poker House Fort Worth, you're going to start with 5,000 in chips for the qualifier. So come in, play in these qualifiers. There's only what that's the only way to get into this $20,000 free roll championship. You've got to get in the top 15% in one of these tournaments. There's three of them. You only have to do it once, but you get three shots. So on August 3rd, that's the one that's coming up. It's exactly a month from now. Build you a chip stack in the month of July, stack them up tall, give yourself an advantage coming in on August 3rd and shoot for that 15% to get in to that $20,000 free roll in October. So, really excited about that. Going to see lots of people participating in that because it's hard to pass up a $20,000 free roll tournament. Hand number 43 shows Super Cat waking up with pocket nines, calling to the $2, and lips around all the way around the table here. So we have a bunch of various holdings: King Jack, King 7, some three deuces out there, immediate King in the window, and Ace Queen to follow. So unfortunately, not the flop that Super Cat is looking for. Goes ahead and checks on around to Detroit, who's going to bet out with his second pair gut shot straight draw. DJ, three deuce of hearts, does have the flush draw, calling the 7. Miz folding the 10 deuce. Daryl coming along with the second pair as well. Lots of betting and calling to the pocket nines. She does not choose to continue. My kicker letting his holding go, and John laying down top pair, but with a bad kicker. So you're going to see Detroit and Daryl both having a second pair and a heart draw for DJ. That ace does make the Kings look a little bit better. Daryl's going to check. Detroit checks. So pot control here. So the queen on the river. So all Detroit and Daryl both going to be chopping this one up if nothing changes with kings, aces and kings with a queen kicker. But let's see if anybody wants to bluff at this pot. Daryl does bet 15. On one hand, it's not a hard call, but it's not an easy call. That queen on the river, someone could come along real easily with a queen 10, queen jack on that flop. DJ lets his hearts go, and it's going to go a call, and they're just going to chop it up. So, good call there by Detroit. Not an easy one. Like I said, a lot of queens are in play there on that hand.
You want me to straddle? I didn't want to mess. You want me to? It's okay to straddle?
Super Cat putting in, it looks like the $5 straddle, and my kicker bumping it up to 10. We've reached that point in the stream where the straddles start to become more prevalent as players are looking for more and more action, either to spin up what they've got run up or get it back.
I should have.
Haven't looked. I do this.
Okay, so see if the graphics going to help with the action here, but it looks like Miz put in a ton of 60. Must have some $10 callers and squeezed with the ace, queen, and bulldog. Decided to stick around. Deuce, deuce, four on this flop. I think the graphics fell behind a little bit there, but Miz continues the aggression pre-flop there to take down a pretty healthy pot. Might have had some mystery hands there, but that's all right. It's what happens in the world of streaming once in a while. My kicker going to straddle here to 5. We will see if the $10 straddle comes into play there from Bulldog. VPIP's pretty even across the board. Detroit, Miz, my kicker. Few players lagging behind Supercat and John, but that they just haven't had much hand selection this last couple hours of the live stream. Speaking of which, John folds the 8-6 of hearts. Detroit going to call the $10 straddle, so Bulldog did put in the $10 straddle. Coming along with Queen 9 of diamonds. Miz waking up with pocket fives, going to bump this one up to 35. Richard reaching for chips and puts it in the middle there with pocket sevens. My kicker not waking up with anything, and Bulldog going to call the 35 with King 7 off suit. Again, the man has showed that he does not like to fold. 3-9 ace on the board. Nobody really connecting much with anything. Detroit does take the lead against the pocket fives and pocket sevens. But the ace on the board that no one is holding is going to slow the action down just a little bit. Jack on the turn. Still no change in the hand. See who can be the aggressor here to take this one down. Miz betting out 40. And it just might get through here. The only person that may look him up would be Bulldog, but unfortunately he just doesn't have anything to be able to do it with. And Detroit, kind of the same here, does lay down the 9s. So Miz with a good bet there on the turn. Decides not to show the mostly bluff. Dealer Paul handing out hand at number 46 here at DJ's game. If you want to get in on this game, it's a great game. It's not too expensive. $300 max buy-in, 1-2 game. Lots of people enjoy that level of poker. Reaches a wide audience of players. Not too expensive, but just enough action to keep it nice and fun. You can sign up for the stream anytime at Poker House Fort Worth. We always have the list up. Lots of $5 being called around the table here. Daryl with pocket fives leading the pack with a bunch of overcards behind him. And he's going to flop bottom set of fives. So Queen 10 5. Supercat does have 9 king for the gut shot. I don't see much else holdings around the table, so Daryl may not get much action for his bet here. Betting out 20. Oh, we see Miz make the call. See if he can get the gut shot. Calls with the 9-8. Bulldog was actually the one that betted. Okay, no, so Daryl does have someone on the line here, as Bulldog has taken the aggression on the hand on this flop, and Daryl looks like he just flatted the 20. We're going to let the graphics catch up here to make sure that I'm not incorrect here. And as it plays catch up a queen on the turn, and it looked like Bulldog was really pushing some chips now. So he might be falling into Daryl's trap here. Yep, Daryl has made the call. Okay, so yep, as it catches up there. Yeah, so he might have raised Bulldog there, who immediately had to fold. So Bulldog trying to tell a line of a queen there. But even if Daryl believed his line of a queen there, he had the full house with the flopped set of fives. So it looked like that Bulldog was taking the aggressive line on the hand, and then Daryl shuts it down with the all-in on the turn, and Bulldog immediately has to let his hand go. So a little chip up there for Daryl, much needed, some patience paying off for him. Finally waking up with a decent holding and connecting to a flop. All these players here on the live stream, they're building chips just by playing, whether they're on live stream or not. Anywhere, anybody in the house for playing the cash games, they're getting 500 chips per hour played for our qualifier on August 3rd. Any tournament, any cash game builds your chip stacks for the qualifier. So just by playing at Poker House Fort Worth in the tournaments and in the cash games, you're building up chips for the qualifier to get in the top 15% and making it to the $20,000 free roll. That's right, the $20,000 free roll in October. To get in, you've got to get in the top 15% in one of our 3 qualifiers, and the first one coming up on August 3rd. You're going to use all of July to build a chip stack to compete on August 3rd to get in the top 15%. The front door or backdoor spades does get there, but neither player having spades. Daryl showing down the pocket fours as Miz continues on with his top pair of kings, has quietly built himself up a stack. Came out of the gate swinging at the beginning of the stream. A few bluffs, got caught bluffing, got a few bluffs through, and then slowed it down and decided to play kind of some generic poker, and the patience has paid off, building his stack up to just shy of 1,000. Detroit, my kicker, both doubled their stacks tonight, and everyone else kind of floating along. John and Supercat, neither player getting many cards to play this live stream, have stayed around that 300 level. DJ, who's been on a roller coaster, is still down 1 buy-in. Richard, Daryl, and Bulldog, unfortunately, catching the bad end of some hands and are in the red for the live stream, but there's still a little bit of time left. As Jenny gets in the box, and we're going to have a bomb pot. In the bomb pots, 4 cards, 2 boards. Omaha rules, must play 2 cards, 3 cards on each board. Looking at all diamonds on the top there, and I don't see anybody with, no, Richard does have 2 diamonds, but so does Supercat, who's going to lead out. She not only has 2 diamonds, but has the nut diamonds, king high of diamonds with the jack of diamonds in her hand. Let's see if anybody's, and she also has bottom set. Holy Toledo, what a hand for Supercat here, and she's definitely going to get some action for it. Betting out 30 called in 4 locations. Let's see if we can figure out here what other holdings people have. Jack is going to be quads for Super Cat. So Super Cat has the nut flush on top, quads on bottom, bets out 50. Does anyone have anything else to compete with? DJ has ace, queen, gut shot on the top. It's got open ended on the bottom, but on a paired board. Does pick up spades on the bottom, but again, that's a paired board. DJ just lots of good going on in his hand, but not quite enough. And I think that's the same conclusion that he's coming to as he folds. It looks so good, but there just wasn't much. Miz here is still showing equity on the top with his 2 pair. Does not have anything on the bottom board, but just a pair of deuces. But thinking about this quite a bit, does he know if he has cards? No, he's thinking about it here. I don't see how he can come along as well. And Richard here, not having much to combat with either. It has the flop flush on top, which he thinks could be good for the top board. That Super Cat might be just firing heavily on this bottom board. But little does he know, he's drawing down on both lets it go. So go ahead and show it, Super Cat. Show that monster. Show him the king, jack of diamonds for the nut flush on the top and the quads on the bottom. There's the nuts on the top and the jack for the quads on the bottom. As you hear the table saying, good hand. It's hard to get callers when you literally have the world. Needed somebody to have lots of boat outs on the top and maybe pocket queens on the bottom to try to get paid on that bomb pot. So monster hand, good pickup there. She did pick up about $150 on that $30 flop bet by her that got about 4 or 5 callers.
Well, we didn't know the world was coming. Oh, I didn't know it was coming, no. I can't just keep checking though, they're not gonna.
Miz here, middle position, and going to raise it up to 11 with king, queen offsuit. Super Cat not having anything, going to lay down her 5-3. My kicker, ace-8 offsuit. May come along, looks like he does. Bulldog, jack-9 offsuit. John's going to fold his ace-6, and we are going to go 3 ways to a flop between Miz, my kicker, and Bulldog. Bulldog looking to get some run good piled up here towards the end of the stream to get some of the money he is down back, and does flop best here with the top pair jack and does check it. I do like that check, leaving Miz some rope there to continue on with the aggressive path. My kicker lets the ace-8 go, and Bulldog here comes along. An 8 on the turn, giving Bulldog still the lead, and it goes check, check for pot control. 10 on the river doesn't develop for anyone's hand, but Miz is going to fire off here. One more bullet, snap called by Bulldog. So Miz trying to a little bit of a bluff there, but against the wrong guy. That's the second bluff of the day picked off by Bulldog from Miz, but it's what happens when you have too many chips in front of you, Miz. You put them into play when maybe you should not have, because that man doesn't fold, and he's already called you once, buddy. But I like the effort. Good on Miz. Played well tonight. has definitely changed gears here and there to build up that chip stack, which was pushing $1,000 at one point, which is pretty good on a $300 max buy-in game. DJ finally waking up with a hand, calls $2 with ace deuce offsuit. Miz just going to limp in with nines. Wonder if he's got some limp three betting in mind, and he's going to get an opportunity to as Bulldog raises it up to 20 with ace queen offsuit. Considering who raised, you may not see Miz three bet here, which he does not. He's just going to call that 2. Supercat laying down the 8-5, as does my kicker. So we're going to go 3 ways to a flop. I think DJ was the one that came along here with the ace deuce. Jack 10 on this flop. No help 2-1. Miz is still best with pocket nines. See if he bets into Bulldog here. Bulldog does not choose the aggression. Goes ahead and checks it and makes the straight on that turn. DJ going to bet $2 just to see. Miz calls $2 and Bulldog says nope. Looks like he raised it up to 20. Yeah. So Bulldog making the Broadway straight on this turn card. DJ not much to do here with the ace unless he's hoping a queen does come out on the turn. But I'm not sure that's worth the price, and he agrees. But Miz, a non-believer, comes along with pocket nines. Needs a 9 and only a 9, but no, he didn't. He could hit a jack. I didn't even think of that one, and does take the win. That's going to be quite irritating to Bulldog. And ends up taking the pot on the 3 jacks on the board, full house, pocket nines, as Bulldog. Yep, they're laughing about that one. I didn't even think of the jack. I was just thinking a 9 only 9, but a jack did make a boat there for Miz to get pretty lucky and catch up to the Broadway straight of Bulldog and taking down that pot.
Any queen, any nine gets that.
Yeah, he's defending his call there. You don't have to defend your call, guys. If you feel like calling in this game, do so. You don't have to defend your play against anyone. Ginny dealing out hand number 50. We've got just a few minutes left of the stream. See if anybody wants to make any moves. The game will continue on, even the stream is over. So if you are listening and are watching close to Burleson, Poker House, Fort Worth, you can come join these guys if any of them wish to call it an evening. Been lots of action, but no one really walking away with the game. Miz did hit that 1,000 chip point, I believe, with $1,000 in front of him, but no super big runaway from anyone. Bulldog raising it up with ace 6 suited. Might be steaming just a little bit from that last hand, and no one can blame him on that. Miz going to give him some action with the king 5 offsuit. Richard coming along with king 10 offsuit. My kicker playing 5-4. And DJ, never a man that wants to miss any big pots, comes along with king 7 suited. Jack, deuce 4, 2 hearts. That's going to lock in at DJ into this hand, but not much more for anyone else. He's going to check into flow here and let the people who were pre-flop betting continue on. Kicker does check his middle pair. Bulldog checks as well. Deuce on the turn doesn't change anyone for anybody. Kicker is still best with his 4s. DJ going to bet the flush draw finally with $20, announcing himself here in the hand. And it may get through here unless Kicker decides to get sticky with the 4s, and he does. So DJ going to need a king 7 or a heart to take the lead in this hand. Does not get it, so a sizable bet here could take it down, but he chooses not to, and Kicker's going to take this one down with the 4. DJ kind of out of position in that hand. Hard to bet another bullet there after being called by kicker. Kicker could have a deuce there very easily. So I think it was a good non-bet there by DJ. Give himself another opportunity to win it by betting that turn, and then just letting it go on the river. Richard waking up with Queen Jack calls the $2 Super Cat, waking up with Ace Queen suited, raises it up to $8. My kicker comes along. John finally waking up with a hand as well. Pocket nines does make the call. No one cares what DJ's cards are because he's going to call 8 every day. This time he happens to have 3 deuce. Miz coming along as well with the 10-8. And we're going lots of ways to this $8 pre-flop raised pot. 6-handed, pocket nines in the lead. The aggressor was a Super Cat with the ace queen of diamonds. 4, 7, 10 on this flop. 2 pair for my kicker. But Miz is going to bet this one out with his top pair of 10s, 20. Richard with the Queen Jack lets it go. Super Cat, only 2 overcards and backdoor diamond draws, decides to lay it down. My kicker, let's see if he announces himself here on this flop and raises, if he raises it up immediately or not. Looks like he just calls, and I like that play. Again, Miz is one of those guys that you don't get in front of. Just let him continue to keep betting because more often than not, he will. Pocket nines goes into the muck for John. King on the turn does give Miz a flush draw. He's going to check for some pot control here. So kicker's going to bet this one out, but Miz is never going to fold here. Second pair still and the 10s with the heart draw. And he calls the 45. So he's going to need a heart, an 8, or a 10. Another 7 gives the full house to kicker. But unfortunately, Miz misses the world. So unless kicker wants to bet an amount here that Miz may try to think that he's bluff catching with, I'd like to see a bet of about 55. And it looks like he goes 65. So yeah, pretty just enough to see if Miz wants to do some bluff catching into this $150 pot. Again, he came along on that pot there, so Miz could put kicker on a king. But he did check it through on that turn, so like I said, Miz could keep kicker honest here, but chooses not to. Good fold there by Miz. Kicker can have a lot of holdings there, including a 7. And kicker does show the full house, so lets him know that he made the right move. And as you hear Dealer Jenny there announcing the full house, that's because we have the Fortune Jackpot promotion going for the month of July still. 4 jackpot hands. You have a 4-hour block to make 4 hands. You have to make a straight, a full house, an ace high flush, and a flopped set. If you make those 4 hands within those 4-hour block windows, you win the progressive jackpot. It goes up $100 a day. We've given out lots of money in the month of June, and we're going to continue on through the month of July. Again, it just gives you another reason just to play poker here at Poker House Fort Worth. Just by coming in playing poker, there's lots of promotions, lots of things going on, different ways to win money, to qualify for events. If you're going to be playing poker, you might as well be getting residual benefits. And there's plenty of them here at Poker House Fort Worth. Lots of kings in the field. Richard calls $2, King 9, Super Cat, King Queen. Bulldog come along with Ace 4. DJ is going to be the one to break up this limping party. It looks like Detroit actually put in a raise there to 7. And DJ is the one that 3-bet to 20 with the Ace 8 suited. looking to build some pots here late. Richard, oh, if Richard four bet this, I love it. It looks like he did. Richard's going to four bet this to 50 with King 9 offsuit. That is a strong four bet. Not because it's a lot of money, because it's almost the minimum. That just is just signaling, please call me. DJ calls the 15, as does Miz. So while there was no chance they were folding, he definitely took a strong lead on the hand with his choice of bet sizing. And this is a beautiful flop for it. 3 deuce deuce. Richard needs to bet about $100 right here. Do it, Richard. Bet at least 100. Represent a pocket pair just like you are. Come on. Come on, bet 100. He just bets 50. That's going to be enough. Same. Unless DJ, ooh, no, DJ smells something fishy in the waters. Didn't like being 4-bet pre. Woof. Yeah, so he's going to call that 50. So Richard going to have to keep the pedal to the metal here on this one, Richard. Dig deeper, buddy. Find it. Rip it in here. I'm rooting for Richard. I don't know why. I love DJ, but I love the way that Richard took command of this hand, and I like to see good poker. Put it in there. He's stacking them up like he is. Well done, sir. That will work for the hand. DJ knew something was wrong with the hand, but still can't do anything about it. Well done, Richard. When you watch this one back, be proud of that hand, sir. The 4-bet pre hadn't been done all night long, showed incredible strength in its sizing, that it wasn't that much. It didn't look like a suspicious squeeze play, basically a min click back 4-bet, and then continued the aggression on a very favorable flop for the hand that you're representing. And strong on DJ for calling that 52. DJ just knew something was off, but even sometimes when you know that your opponent is bluffing, but you have nothing to call them down with, you're just stuck. I mean, you can look up someone dead in the eye and say, "You sir are bluffing," but unfortunately, I have less than nothing, so I can't call you down. So, good pickup there by Richard. Well done, sir. Supercat 10-9 offsuit. Holds it down, folding on around. Nothing much going on. John picking up Jack 8 suited, limping in. Detroit going to come along with 10-9 offsuit. DJ Ace 9 going to raise it up. Looks like to 7 or 12. Miz going to 3-bet here. DJ 3-bet 2 hands in a row. Not going to be happy. Looks like Miz bets it up to 60 with the pocket deuces. John's going to let his holding go as well as Detroit. DJ never one to fear comes along for 60 with Ace 9. So Miz looking to dodge everything on a flop of Jack 4-3. Get about 100, and DJ is just unfortunately not going to be able to come along here. So DJ may feel like he's just run into it a couple times here in the last couple of hands. Miz is going to show it. Yeah, little needle there from Miz, but DJ still knows that he couldn't beat it. That he feels like maybe he could have pushed him off of it, but bygones be bygones on that one. Miz is still your cash chip leader here for the evening. A little over 500 in profit. Mike Kicker right behind him with a little less than 500 in profit. Richard, Bulldog, Daryl, and DJ are the only ones that are in the red for the evening. Daryl just not waking up with much tonight. Bulldog made some great plays, just didn't quite work out for him.
Living life like a hand of poker. He's saying that he's gonna play ace. He's gonna play ace deuce. He's gonna go all in. Whatever comes in life is gonna come as how it is on the flop. And I was like, from ever
Might be playing a mystery hand here. Going to give the players a chance to let the graphics give a chance to catch up as Jenny reconstructs this here. A king 7-8 on this flop. Might not be able to trust the readers on this hand. See who takes the aggression. Looks like Daryl is. Pretty decent pot here that Daryl looks to be picking up. So much needed pot there for Daryl. Don't know what he had there, but he's dragging in some chips. Helps bring him a little bit less into the red. Just a few minutes left here at Poker House of Fort Worth live stream, the Wednesday night DJ's game, a 1-2-300 max buy-in game. A game that anybody can play. All you have to do is sign up at Poker House Fort Worth. Get on the list to play in a pretty fun, affordable action game. John calling here with Queen 9 suited. Richard going to play his button with Queen 4 offsuit. Cat's going to make the call in the small. My kicker checking his option. I'm sorry, my kicker completing the straddle and Bulldog checking the action to a King 8 deuce flop. No one holding a king nor 2 spades, so it checks around to a turn. Another deuce on the turn. Kicker does turn trips, checks his option, and Bulldog's going to fire this one out with the 8 second pair. It's going to fold around here. Let's see if my kicker makes his presence known. Super Cat, either she doesn't have 10-5 or she folds. So let's see if kicker makes the presence known here. He does immediately by raise it up to 40. So Bulldog here, will he get sticky and come along? He does. So Bulldog needed an 8 and only an 8 to take the lead on this hand here. Does not happen. So kicker here, kicker checked to see if Bulldog would stab one more time, but does not, and shows the deuce and is going to take down this $100 pot. I think he made the maximum there. Any sort of bet there would not have worked. So he just had to go ahead and check it to see if Bulldog would bite down one more time, and chose not to. Coming down to the last couple hands, we'll talk a little bit more about the $20,000 free roll and some other things we have going on here at Poker House Fort Worth. There's a ladies stream coming up. A ladies cash game stream coming up. I'll get the details on that for everyone. We'll get it up on social media. I'm sure we'll see Super Cat on that one. Richard going to raise it up to 7 with the ace-10. Several players coming along, including John with the pocket 8s. Looks to be in the lead with that holding. Super Cat comes along with Queen Jack suited. Lots of other Queen 9s and King 9s in the field. Miz betting out 20, his top pair. John, being a non-believer, going to see one more card with his pocket eights. Gets close, but doesn't get there with a 9 on the turn. Check to a river. Miz going to bet out his 2 pair here. John's just going to look him up just to keep him honest. I like it. But Miz going to take that one down. So a pretty solid game, DJ's game this Wednesday night, and every Wednesday night from 7 to 10. We're going to talk about the $20,000 free roll championship one more time before we let you guys go. You got 3 chances to get into this tournament. The first one coming up August 3rd. You're going to build a chip stack all this month. You're building chips for this August 3rd qualifier. Playing cash games, playing tournaments. You earn chips. Build your own chip stack for August 3rd. The top 15% will qualify for the $20,000 free roll in October, and you're only going to have 3 opportunities to do so. So all of the month of July, build your chips for August 3rd, and then in all of August, you'll build your chips for September 7th, and then all of September, you'll build your chip stacks for October 5th. And so you're going to play in all 3 of those qualifiers and try to get into that top 15% to qualify to play in the $20,000 free roll championship October 12th. And as you can see there's many ways to earn chips. Basically, by playing at all, you can be earning chips. And cash games, every hour you play, hourly high hand wheel spins. We've seen some people spinning the wheel in the room. And it doesn't matter what the high hand is. Every hour, someone will be spinning that wheel, earning chips towards the qualifier. If you don't make it in, if you can't make it in very often in the month of July, it does not matter. You can play in this qualifier. Every active membership gets 5,000 in chips just by default. So come on in, play in this qualifier on August 3rd, and try to get into that top 15% to qualify for this $20,000 free roll championship in October. And if you don't make it this August, you've got 2 more chances to do so. But give yourself the best chance to do so by coming in and playing at Poker House Fort Worth, the cash games and the tournaments, earning you as many chips as possible to give yourself the best advantage to try to get in to that qualifier with a monster chip stack and get into that final 15% to punch your ticket into the $20,000 free roll championship on October 12th. I want to thank everyone for tuning in here to Poker House Fort Worth in DJ's game on this Wednesday night, the $100, $200, $300 max DJ's game that you can get in on. Just come to Poker House Fort Worth and sign up. Any questions on any of our live streams or any of our tournaments or this $20,000 championship, feel free to send us a message on Facebook. I want to thank everyone for tuning in and hope to see